Alright, so in these following few built-in functions, or at least for this lecture, we're going to be talking about numbers, especially conversion of strings to numbers per se. So in the future, actually, we're going to be talking about a function called input. And all this input function does is, for example, let's say I wanted the user to tell me what your age is. So what I could do is I could say input enter your age, right? Now this would work, and I'd put in my age is 14 and it would return me 14, except we want to store the value of input into a variable. So I create a variable called age, and I say input enter your age. So this would then, I would put in 14, and now if I print out age, it's now 14, which is fantastic. But let's say I now want to use this age for a different purpose. Let's say I want to now see, hey, is this guy eligible for Facebook? So if I say if age is greater than 13, then print eligible for FB, then I get an error, and it says unorderable types string greater than int. So Python is actually quite nice when it comes to errors, and it basically tells you what's wrong. Right now it's saying you cannot compare a string to an int. What we have to do is we have to convert our string right now. As you can see, when we printed out age, it came as a string into an integer. So the function we use here is called the int function. So what I can do is in our age, before running this, convert the age into an integer. So right now our age is a string. It is basically an integer with quotation marks around it. The integer function removes those quotation marks. So now if I run this, eligible for FB. So the int function works on any string which is a number. For example, if I say int 26, I'll get 26. So it basically removes the quotation marks and converts that string number into a regular integer. Now just like the int function works, there's another function called float. Now the float function, what it does is, instead of converting a string into an integer, if you're already ahead of me here, it converts a string into a float. A float is basically a decimal. For example, if I say float 123.456 or 4356, it now gives me 123.4356. So using int and float, we can easily convert strings to integers and decimals. Now what if it's the opposite? I have this fantastic integer, but I need to convert it into a string. Well, if you remember back in our prime number .py file, what we had done is we'd call the string function, and basically all the string function does is it converts a number, an integer, a float into a string. So if I want to convert my age back to a string, all I have to do is say str age, and then I'll get it back as my normal string. So string, int, float, these three functions you can use to convert a data type from string to int to string, string to float, and float to string.